Hi again, everybody, and welcome to Charger 360, telling the stories of the University of New Haven. I'm J.W. Stewart. Alongside is Bruce Barber. Bruce, how you doing today?
J-Dub, I'm so well. I'm so excited. I think this is going to be the best episode yet.
I agree. We say that all the time, but I think we really have it down.
We mean it this time.
We mean it this time.
Yeah.
We promise.
Yeah.
And here to make sure that it happens and it's the best episode of all time is Tiffany Hesser. And Tiffany Hesser is the Vice Provost for Advising, Retention, and Academic Support here at the University of New Haven.
Yes.
Tiffany, it's great to see you. Thanks for being here.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here today.
So Tiffany, tell us about where you're from, your background, and your path to UNH.
My path to UNH, well, I'm from Connecticut, so I never really left. I know during high school there's a lot of push to go out and try things in different parts of the United States, but I was like, I think I'm just going to stay here in Connecticut. And actually, I came to UNH as a student, so it wasn't until I was about 21 years old that I came back to the university. I started college right after I graduated from high school. Had a pretty rough first semester or two and decided to take a little bit of a break till I could figure out, what it was I wanted to do, right? You don't necessarily know what you want to do with your life when you're 18 years old. Sometimes you don't know what you want to do with your life when you're 47 years old. But at that point, it was, trying to figure out what was going to be best for me. So I had taken a few years off and gone to work. I'm a certified veterinary technician, actually. So I'd gone to work in the veterinary field, and that's when I came back to UNH. I was working at an emergency clinic, a 24-hour clinic, and I was full-time there, and I was full-time here, and it was a really, really fun time.
So this ends up being pretty much perfect for your job right now that you experienced some bumps in the road.
It is.
Right?
It definitely connects you with who the students are and what they face, and I feel like a lot of students come in really feeling like there's a predetermined path for success. If I first cross this off and then I cross that off, that means I'm going to set myself up and I'll be successful and everybody will see me as successful. And really it's the complete opposite. The path we each take to success looks completely different, and we really should never be comparing what one person does to what another person does. And what everybody's end goals are completely different also. So a lot of times I like to sit with students and say, well, what do you want to get out of this? Is your goal just to kind of finish this and go to grad school? Do you want to go to work? Are you just kind of doing this till you figure out and find some passion in your life? And that's really then what should be kind of driving students towards that, persistence through their education and their paths in life. So it's definitely given me some good perspective on that part of it, yeah.
I mentioned again your title, Vice Provost for Advising, Retention, and Academic Support. That's a lot. How would you summarize what it is you do on a day-to-day basis? I know every day is different.
Every day is.
Generally speaking, what do you do on a day-to-day basis?
So I feel like those all really connect together, right? So retention is everything at the university. Having students persist and be successful is really what every action we do here at the institution. You talk about advising and academic support, really those go hand in hand. Having students understand what resources are here for them, understand what they have to do to learn in the classroom and how it might be different for them versus another person in the class, and then who they can go to. And it really all just lumps into my job is to be here, to hear where students are, to offer them that support, to take them where they need to go.
And I would imagine, this becomes super important because we have a large cohort of first-generation college students, right?
We do. Every semester, we range between 40 and 50% of first-generation students. And those students really face more barriers, not in terms of their ability in the classroom, but their ability to navigate through a higher education system. I don't know if we take it for granted, or a lot of us haven't had to face, just filling out paperwork, following the roadmaps, understanding how to fill out the FAFSA, how to accept financial aid, how to register for classes.
Oh, let me tell you something. As a parent, have you seen the FAFSA?
It's bad.
The FAFSA is horrible.
Yeah, it's a lot. And if you don't have anybody to walk you through it, if no one's done it in your family before, sometimes those are things students don't even know they need to do, and then it's too late. So understanding the population of students that are coming in, whether it be first generation, whether it be academic struggles, whether it be just the world that they live in being so very different than a lot of us as staff and faculty experienced growing up, we really have to be ready to meet those students' needs, right? To understand who they are, what they're looking for, and how we're setting them up for success.
For those who are watching, and in our audience, we have a lot of prospective students and their parents watching. For those who may not know, please define FAFSA and what it is and why it's important.
FAFSA is the forms that are filled out, the federal forms that are filled out in order to get financial aid. So there's different levels of financial aid that are going to be dependent on the family income and the contributions that the families can make, your age, those types of things. And it basically sets you up for any federal aid, and it also sets you up with what the institution would kind of do for you in terms of merits and those types of things. So yeah, so it's actually a lot. I don't know a lot about it in terms of, usually I say, well, let me connect you to a financial aid advisor. But yeah, it's a very important part for most students.
And I tell you what, when I was doing it with my wife as parents for kids in college,
right,
it's so complicated.
It is.
And now they just revamped it, I guess. I'm hoping it got easier.
Yeah.
Because I would literally have to have my wife sit with me because I'd start like freaking out. I'm doing something wrong. She'd go, just calm down, breathe.
It's like doing your taxes. You're like, am I reading this right?
Yeah,
have a snack. Yeah.
Amazing. The other thing I find just, and I say this to students a lot, I don't know if you encounter this. This was me. I was not a good college student. And it was because I didn't really have the context. I didn't, aside from I need a college education to get a job, I didn't really get why I was going through the process.
Right.
And it wasn't until I was a parent at a back to school night and one of the principals said, we're not here to teach factoids. We're getting you to use your brain, and we're getting you to use all the different aspects of your brain. Kind of the way you'd work out. You work out all parts of your body. And something clicked with me there, like, wow. Mm-hmm. And if only someone, was in a position to tell me that back when I was in school, right, I could have brought so much more to it.
Right.
Do you encounter that as well?
Very much. So I spent 18 years in the classroom first. So before I moved into this position, I was a non-tenure track senior lecturer in chemistry and chemical engineering. So I spent a lot of time with students thinking about how they learn and teaching them how to learn and teaching them that it's not necessarily just chemistry that you're here. You're here to learn to be a good learner, and that's a process. And it's a process that's different. Everybody thinks differently and learns differently and memorizes differently and goes through patterns differently. So really understanding who you are as a learner can set you up for success in even courses that you dislike. I wasn't great at history. I didn't love history, but once you learn how to be a good learner, then you're going to be like, oh, wow, this is great. I can manage this material. I can master this material. So I face a lot of talking to students about that aspect of it. But it's also understanding that a degree is not necessarily just going into a field. So not all degrees are setting you up for a professional field. If you know you want to be a dentist, you need a pre-dental, right? If you know you're going to go into certain fields, there's a very set path to get there. But for a lot of students, they're kind of going through their education, finding out what their interests are and what their journey is. And so I was meeting with a student yesterday who's a criminal justice major, and we were talking about that exact thing. Using your electives to really explore what you feel passionate about, community engagement experiences on campus, so that you can learn things that you love and are passionate about and things that you actually don't like. Because it's just as important to learn what you just don't enjoy as it is to really learn what you feel passionate about. We're probably quicker to find out what we don't like than we are to find what we really love about lives and our careers.
How much of a part of your day is speaking with students? Do you have like a line out your door?
I speak with every single day. I meet with students. Yeah, so that's a regular thing, and that's something that's very important to me. I know a lot of times in administration, you can move into positions where you're doing a lot of behind the scenes. So I work with the data a lot. I look at persistence data a lot. I look at student success. I work with the Center for Learning Resources to make sure that we have adequate academic support that's based on what we're seeing happening in our classrooms. But I will never walk away from being able to get to spend time with the students. So that's the best part of it, is really talking with them about their plans and where they are and even their struggles, helping them kind of tackle this phase of growing into life.
And you spoke about some of the resources that we have on campus. That's always been really impressive to me. Talk a little more about.
We have so much in place for students, depending on where they're struggling. So we do have the Dean of Students office, who really focuses on the student services, wellness, health, those types of things. But on campus, we have our Accessibility Resource Center that helps students that need accommodations. We have a very large Center for Learning Resources, which is located in the lower level of the library. We have over 110 tutors, professional and peer tutors, that support over 7,000 appointments during an academic semester. I think this semester we were just talking, they're already up to 5,000 visits.
I should have gotten one of those tutors to help me with the FAFSA.
That's probably what you should have
That
done.
would have been
Right,
great.
right. No, we have both in-person and Zoom appointments that run pretty much from the morning until midnight. And then even Sunday night, that they work, because that's when you start worrying about the week ahead, right?
Yeah.
So if you go look at the tutoring centers, they're always open until about 2 o'clock on Friday, right? Then they shut down because nobody really worries about school after 2 o'clock on Friday.
Nope.
But Sunday night comes.
Yep.
Sunday night comes, and then you start worrying a bit. We all do it, right? So they're open Sunday night. But yeah, they have thousands of students that are coming through, including an increase in the graduate population of students that we're seeing come in, just to get that academic support. Most students at some point are going to need to rely on just that academic support. It's not because something's going wrong, but that's because that's what's part of the learning process, is really being able to talk through things with somebody and think through things with somebody else.
Tiffany, you went to school here.
I did.
You work here.
I do.
You have another unique connection
I
because
do.
you are a parent of a UNH student.
I am.
Speaking as a mom, to all the other moms out there listening, what does UNH have to offer? What makes it such a great place?
What makes it so great is, and this is why I love talking at the parents' events, because I really do feel like I have this unique perspective as somebody who went to school here, somebody who has worked here in both the classroom and in administration, and now I actually have 2 children. My daughter just started also
Very good.
this fall. And I think it's a unique place because we work very hard to support the students holistically. So in academic affairs, we work very close with student affairs so that we can make sure we're managing students' needs inside and outside the classroom. We like to check in with them often to see what it is that they need. We have unique alert systems that are in place to make sure that we kind of come together and support a student, kind of an invisible safety net for students that we like to form. So I think that we're pretty unique that way, that we really do work to step in where the parents start to step back in that very first year and be there for the students.
And that's exactly what this whole thing is supposed to be about. I found out this term, J-Dub, have you heard this? En loco parentis?
No.
So what that means, it's not what I thought it was, which is like, I'm a loco
for a parent.
It's basically in the place of the parents.
Right.
That we have an obligation as educators to kind of take on that role.
Right.
Because I always talk to my students about the fact that if you're feeling a little freaked out right now, that's natural because you are in a massively transitional phase in your life.
That's exactly what I tell parents, is that if your students aren't struggling a little bit in that very first semester, we probably should be worried. If they are struggling, that's exactly where we expect them to be, and that's when we want to step up and let them know that we're here and let them know about the resources that are there to support them through this.
We mentioned you were a student here. How has UNH changed over the years?
It has changed so much. It has changed so much. So the parking lot so the little area now right outside of Bergami, it used to be the parking lot, right? We'd always be fighting. That hasn't changed.
No,
we would always be fighting for parking spaces, getting here as soon as you can to make sure that you can get a spot, because we had a big commuter population then also. But the grounds have changed so much. So I've been here for the rec center building and Bartell's being built out, and it's been great to watch it. It's a beautiful campus, and they've put a lot of resources into really making it a beautiful space for our students. I love it. I've loved watching it. It's been great.
And now we're embarking on a new campaign, Power On, which is, we really feel like our students, what is it that makes our students special? They seem to be very purpose-driven.
Yes.
And they're interested in changing the world, aren't they?
I know, it's fantastic. It's actually great about this whole generation is that they really are coming in ready to kind of make a difference. They're not afraid to use their voices, and it's fantastic to watch, right? We're lucky to get to be part of that with them.
We've got about a minute and a half left here as we're visiting with Tiffany Hesser, the UNH Vice Provost for Advising, Retention, and Academic Support. So you teach, you've taught here, you do a different type of teaching. You coach high school girls volleyball.
I do, and some of my girls actually go here once they graduate high school. So that's something I've been doing for about 7 years. It's a great experience to really just kind of watch students developmentally, to kind of understand where they go from and watch students that are excited about things. So, you come to college, you get a lot of students who are excited about their careers, but some of them aren't as, right? So students love sports though, right? That team mentality, that builds all the good attributes that they gain from being a part of a team. So it's really great to be part of that and to be part of that experience for them. And I absolutely love it. I look forward to the fall every single year, mostly for that reason. Plus the start of the academic semester, of course, but mostly because it gets to be volleyball season. So
Well, I think arguably we've got the most committed University of New Haven person of all time.
Well, I guarantee you she's the smartest person in the room, Bruce. I barely passed chemistry in high school.
No problem. Oh yeah, chemistry. Wow.
And that'll wrap it up for another edition of Charger 360, telling the stories of the University of New Haven. Tiffany Hesser, thanks for being here.
Thank you so much for having me. I've enjoyed it.
Yep. Stay tuned. We'll have another episode coming your way in the next week or so. For Bruce Barber, for Tiffany Hesser, I'm J.W. Stewart. Thanks for watching Charger 360. We'll see you next time.